Ladies and gentlemen, live from beautiful sunny Florida, ballin' and brawling. Hebs has made the flight down. He's in attendance for what is an explosive night of fights. UFC 303 live from T-Mobile Arena, Viva Las Vegas. A battle for the light heavyweight crown as Alex Pereira takes on Jiří Procházka in what we obviously know is going to be an electric fight, as it was 8 months ago. This card was supposed to be headlined by none other than the notorious Conor McGregor. He had to pull out due to injury, and I think the UFC did a pretty good job with what they subbed in for us. So we're gonna get into it. Our first live breakdown here, and Hebs, how does it feel to be down?
It's great. First in-person episode live in this beautiful studio that we crafted with our bare freaking hands, dude. So I'm excited. It's going to be a good episode. And what better? We obviously thought this was going to be the McGregor card, but it still turned out pretty great, right? Nothing beats a McGregor fight week. We did the video last week. I obviously broke the news. Thank you. But it doesn't get much better than this, right? Jiří versus Pereira. Obviously, they did a nice job band-aiding up the rest of the card. It was already a decent card going into it. We'll get into, a lot of changes on this card. Jamal Hill, Olberg, Roundtree. That fight's changed a ton. We'll get into that a little more in a bit. But yeah, I'm excited to break this. It feels right, being on the same couch, getting into it. Now you can't fucking hide behind the screen when I'm, tearing your ass up.
Hey, I will say, I just think, dude, this card is going to deliver. Like, I don't think there's any way this card doesn't deliver.
Yeah,
like,
there's no
you know
way.
what I mean?
Those two guys, like, when they fought in MSG, it's like, the word aura gets used a lot nowadays, but like, there's no, like, the aura these two cats have. It's like nothing else you see in MMA and the UFC. Like, they're literally gladiators. They're literally, I said this in the last thing, like, they should be fighting in the Coliseum at any era in human history. Jiří Procházka and Alex Pereira would have ended up fighting each other, and we get to see it like on the biggest stage possible. It's fucking awesome, dude. Two of the most badass guys in the UFC, in the world right now, and we get to watch, and we get to break it down for our beautiful listeners. So let's get into the main card. Michael Venom Page versus Ian the Cuck Garry, a very highly anticipated bout at welterweight. I don't really think anyone saw this fight coming. They usually don't match up to two rising prospects, yeah. Right? MVP obviously on the older side, but a guy, he made his UFC debut against Kevin Holland in March. He looked fucking awesome in that fight. He was on the UFC's radar forever. He did some interesting stuff. He's a guy who did bare knuckle against Mike Perry. Obviously, he lost to,
a lot of respect there for MVP.
Yeah, that's like, again, one of the more badass things you could do is fight Mike Perry and bare knuckle. But against Ian Garry, is he the most hated guy in the UFC right now?
Dude, I think it's up there, honestly, just with like, the wife thing, the kind of just his aura. I feel like yeah, he gives off the energy. Like he's got a lot of hate right now, but I think no matter the hate, you gotta tip your cap at what he's done in the sport so far. He's racked up some wins in the company, and dude, the guy looks like a pretty complete fighter. Honestly, I know there's a lot of stuff outside of the cage that people like to talk about, but when it's inside the cage, it might not be the most entertaining at all times. But dude, I think Ian Garry knows how to win fights. Like you said, it's interesting to see the UFC make this matchup because you got two guys that you could see the UFC building up. They're both strikers. They're both entertaining, fun guys. But hey, Dana kind of talks about just putting the best matchups together, and this is another great matchup that they put together. It's a fight that I'm just going to come out and say right now, I'm very confident in Ian Garry in this fight. I think he can win the fight anywhere, on the feet, on the ground. He's the only fighter that can take this fight to the ground. I don't think MVP has any wishes to do so.
No
but
chance.
I really look at this fight, and I don't understand how, when you look at the odds in this fight, Ian Garry is just a slight favorite in this one. He's the bigger, taller, stronger dude, the more complete fighter. I don't know if it's the hate of the fans.
Got it. Do you know what it opened at? Because I think I have not seen anyone pick Ian Garry to win this fight.
Yeah.
Everyone's picking MVP. Everyone hates his guts, rightfully so, probably. But
yeah, so I don't know exactly what it opened up at. I'm not huge on the whole betting market, but I have just noticed that he's a slight favorite in this one, and it is a fight that I mean, yeah, anyone can get clipped in MMA. We know this, but I think he wins the fight in every way. I think he's gonna look great in this fight, and I'm gonna go out on a limb here to say Ian Garry gets a stoppage win over MVP on Saturday night. Hebs, give me your take on this one. What do you think?
This might be a little bit of a boring episode, I guess, because I think we think the same way about a lot of these fights. But move this back a little bit. I'm still at, but dude, Ian Garry has looked fantastic in his entire rise in the UFC. When he came onto the scene, he got hate for being a McGregor wannabe. He literally. I mean, I don't think he's hiding it at all. He wants to be Conor McGregor. He does the strut. He literally, what'd he say? We're not here to. I'm not even gonna do my Irish accent. We're not here to take part. We're here to take over. The guy loves McGregor. That was what he got hate on a lot for when he started his UFC career, and now he gets a lot of hate for something very different. The whole situation, honestly, as bad as it is, he has kind of handled himself at least decently, right? Like, other than the whole missing the press conference back in December when Colby was saying all that shit, like, I honestly don't know. It's just an impossible situation to win. So I think he has handled himself pretty good. But as far as his fighting, dude, he's still, like, he went out there against Jeff Neal. The whole world wanted him to lose. And he looked great, and he won, and he silenced all the doubters. So you got to give credit there. MVP, after when this guy came to the UFC, he has to fight Wonder Boy. He has to fight Wonder Boy. Very happy that he's not fighting Wonder Boy, because I think anyone who really knows MMA knows that would not be that. What?
Oh, no,
your wig's falling off.
I was just shaking my wig. Because
that would not have been an exciting fight. Him versus Wonder Boy is just like the way those styles clash. That would have just been boring, like tip and tap. Like, so I'm very happy that these guys are fighting again. Like you said, UFC usually tries to build up to, rising stars like this. So kind of strange that they're fighting each other. Also in that division, Della versus Shavkat could be happening. So I guess they're just trying to kill off all the contenders. But I think MVP looked great in that fight. Everyone's saying he's faster than Garry. Everyone just hates Ian Garry, dude. I think MVP is high level. But I think Ian Garry, man, he is a killer. Like, he is a great fighter. So regardless of everything going on outside the cage, again, I think that's what's leading to these odds. That's what's leading to these conversations. If he wasn't as big of a cornball, I don't know if I could say that, but this would be a much different fight, and he would be talked about much differently. So I don't love the guy, and I really do like MVP. He's a showman. He's, a great guy to have in the company, and I'm glad they got him. But I don't think he beats Ian Garry. I agree with you. I'm not going to say knockout. I think it'll go to decision because, MVP, he does have the Holland fight, although he looked great, it was a really boring fight. He's not an exciting guy, and Gary's not exciting all the time. So I don't know if it'll be the most exciting fight. I am interested to see how the presser goes, but I have Ian Garry winning this fight. And we move on to the only women's fight on this main card. Justin, you can break it down for us. What?
Yeah. We got Maria Bueno de Silva taking on Macy Chiasson. There's big women fights that we get up for. I wouldn't say this is
like
one
who?
of them that's, Amanda Nunes, Cyborg.
When was the last time she fought?
Holly Holm. Ronda.
You get up for a Holly Holm Apex main event? Is there another one of those coming up recently?
No, she actually just got ragdolled by Kayla Harrison. It's sad to see how Dana treats the old stars.
Who should she have fought?
It just feeds them a stylistically terrible matchup for Holly Holm at this point of her career. She's not competing for a title. They feed her to Kayla Harrison. Holly Holm's not on the card. We won't go down that road, but we all know.
Let's do it.
Dana White's a scumbag. Let's be honest. We'll call it a spade a spade. It's got snooze fest written all over it. All right. Stylistically looking at the matchup, I think Maria Bueno Silva kind of can dictate where this fight goes, whereas Macy Chiasson, who is a strong, like taller girl for the division, but doesn't seem to use it. She wants to come out and try and point fight, or she wants to come out and she's one or the other. She'll want to come out and just be a grapple heavy person one fight, or she'll want to strike. She's not going to be grappling, I don't think, with Maria Bueno del Silva. I'll take Maria Silva, however you want to say it, via, we all know, decision. What's your take on this one, Evs?
I got Chiasson by decision. All right, so Anthony Smith, Roman Dolidze. This fight, I don't know if we've ever seen something like this, dude. It started off Jamal Hill versus Khalil Roundtree. Jamal Hill just got knocked out brutally at UFC 300.
Shama.
He was a very quick turnaround, obviously a big spot, being the co-headliner on a Conor McGregor card against Khalil Roundtree. Then he, again, a steroid doer, he's out. Jamal Hill versus Carlos Ulberg, another super, super fun fight. Carlos Ulberg, what even happened to Ulberg? Do you know?
I think I don't know the exact injury, but I mean,
who cares? Yeah. Probably gyno, is he, right? Another steroid doer. But yeah, so then Ulberg's out. Anthony Lionheart Smith is in. The company man saves the company once again. Anthony Smith versus Carlos Ulberg. Wait, no. Okay, yeah, Jamal Hill was out first. Sorry. Jamal Hill was out with a leg injury. You know, he didn't want to see this guy at the press conference. Who would? So he's out. In comes Carlos. In comes Anthony Smith versus Carlos Ulberg. Yes, and then Carlos Ulberg is out. Roman Dolidze is in. Holy fuck! That was not a joke. Maybe I'm just a moron. Definitely a moron. But the fight just kept getting worse and worse and worse, and now it ends up with Dolidze versus Anthony Smith. I can't believe. I mean, this was a very interesting fight, and then it was still interesting for a while up until Dolidze comes in. So, honestly, all due respect to both guys, Dolidze he was getting ready for a fight at 185. So, I mean, I think Anthony Smith is going to be a much bigger guy. Anthony Smith, we kind of ripped him apart, and we heard from him over at 301. What was that, in April now? But he had a quick stoppage, man. He was a massive underdog in that fight. Was it a dominant win? No. The cat just shot for like the weirdest looking takedown ever. Fell right into a triangle.
The guy got caught with a guillotine.
Yeah, a guillotine. Pardon me.
Who loses via guillotine these days?
And it was a guillotine where, like, right when he was in, like, it was just in immediately. It wasn't like there was any adjustment. Like, right when he was in there, Smith kind of was looking around. He's like, holy fuck, like, I think I'm about to win. This doesn't happen very often, ladies and gentlemen. But I do think Anthony Smith is a better fighter here. I've never been impressed with anything I saw from Dolidze. What was the last? He fought recently and lost. I remember the Vettori fight was just like, two unathletic, big, chunky bums throwing hands. I'm not impressed with him, and I think Smith is going to be the much bigger guy. Regardless of on paper, Anthony Smith is the champion, right? So I guess we can factor in on paper, but I just feel like the build-up to this fight, Anthony Smith at the press conference is going to say something to Pereira. It's going to be in the headlines again for no fucking reason. And then, like, can't you just see Anthony Smith winning and calling out Pereira, like getting right on? He's like, you know who I want next, Rogan? He's like, the bum who's fighting at the end of the night. I want the winner. And, like, I'm sure some people will stand and applaud, but, it just goes to show you can talk yourself into things in this sport. Like, it's not all about your merit. If you just go on there, is he going to fight for the title next? No. Is he ever going to fight for the title? I sure hope not. But undefeated on paper, and he'll add another W in the win column. So I think Anthony Smith is going to get it done. I think he's better I think he's better on the feet. I think he's definitely better on the ground. I've never been impressed with anything from Dolidze. So I got Anthony Smith here. And yeah, I just want to see the interactions with Pereira. I haven't seen. I'm hoping we get like a moment of them two, like, you know, walking by each other. And Pereira, again, I don't think Pereira doesn't know the guy's a fighter. He thinks he's a commentator. He thinks him and John Anik, and then he'll be like, wait, this guy's fucking fighting on my undercard, dude. Yeah, Anthony Smith gets a big win here. And then he definitely fights for the belt next, and he wins it. All right, cool. Who you got in this fight?
Dude, no. Well, you know how Anthony Smith's gonna do it. He's gonna walk by Pereira and be like, we gonna keep it professional? We gonna damn well knowing that Pereira has no idea what he's saying to begin with.
All these bums. I'm calling out the UFC media. That's why we got the two heavy hitters in town now. Whoever, like, the guys that ask questions at the press conference, they're just like, how do you feel about the fight? And
hey, Dana,
Saudi Arabia?
Hey, Dana, what did you think of Anthony Smith's 29-28 decision tonight?
Yeah, one of you chumps in the media, I know you guys are fucking watching this, looking for questions to ask. Someone's going to say, Anthony, you're up there with the champion. You guys got a lot of history together. Like, what do you say to the guy? And he's going to be like, yeah, I mean, he knows the fucking deal, dude. He knows what's coming by the end of the year. Shut the fuck up, Anthony Smith. What are you talking about? That guy, again, but he's won because people are talking about it, and that's what he wanted. So he gets what he wants. The number one MMA podcast is talking about you. Congrats to Anthony Smith, and you'll get a dub. So good week for you. Who you got in this fight?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you kind of covered a lot of it. Leading into Anthony Smith's last fight, we were like, all right, this guy's kind of on the way out. He gets a guillotine win. Like I said, I don't know how many people win via guillotine these days. If you're getting caught with a guillotine, chances are you're not a very high-level fighter. I'm just being honest in this stage of the game. And you look at this fight, Dolidze, I want to say, has fought mainly at middleweight.
He was preparing. I don't know when it was, but he was supposed to have a middleweight fight around this time. So that's why he stepped up.
Obviously, stepping up, he's not going to have to cut the weight, but like you said,
fucking jump. Dude.
Yeah, he's gonna be giving up some size. But I will say, bro, when I watched the Dolidze fight, is he the uber most talented fighter? No, but he does have like some explosion, some just pure strength. Like, does he throw great combos? Does he look smooth out there at all times? No. But for some reason, dude, I'm not gonna just because Anthony Smith won via guillotine, I'm not going to get here and be like, yeah. And like you said, I agree with you. The storyline, it matches up. He wins. He calls out Alex Pereira, who in reality, Anthony Smith needs to win 5 more fights before he fights for the title. But if he talks his way, he knows that this is a great opportunity where if he does win, he talks his way into possibly a title shot, possibly a number one contender fight. Yeah. Like I said, I think Dolidze is he's going to be able to get 2 of the 3 rounds. I think the fight goes all 3 rounds. I'm going to take Dolidze via decision, 29-28. And what could be a big win for him, maybe sticks around at 205. Probably not. Probably goes back down to 185. But I'm interested to see how he looks in comparison to Anthony Smith, just because Dolidze is kind of a big dude, for middleweight. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, good fight. With it, like you said, an Anthony Smith win does get interesting. I could see him also getting on the mic and being like, you know, guys, just a crafty vet from Omaha, Nebraska, or wherever he's from. I don't have much to say. Anthony Smith can take both roads. He's that type of guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, like we said, the fight was supposed to be Jamal Hill, Roundtree, explosive matchup. But then it even got better in my opinion when it was Olberg versus Jamal Hill, and now it's just, dude, when they subbed Anthony Smith and it already killed it. And then now deletes Anthony Smith. I'll take it, but I'll take it. Let's just leave it at that. You know what I mean?
It didn't I thought Jamal Hill. I love Khalil Roundtree, but I thought Hill matched up a lot better versus Roundtree than he did Olberg. So I kind of thought he was going to beat Roundtree, and I know a lot of people were going to back Roundtree in that. But then when Olberg got subbed in, I was like, dude, I think Olberg is going to knock out Jamal Hill, especially 2 months after a knockout. And then, but I was still that's still a fucking sick fight. Yeah. And then Anthony Smith comes in, and I'm like, all right, I'm not too excited. But Olberg versus Anthony Smith, it could be a fun build-up. Olberg is an exciting, explosive guy. He does steroids, and then
we love that explosive strikers on steroids.
I don't know, but But then we got this fucking Dolidze, dude. Like,
hey, respect the guy stepping up on short notice. Could see him getting a dub. I obviously just picked him to win. Let's give him a round of applause, stepping up and taking on the undefeated on paper Anthony Smith. This guy's a legend, all right? On to the co-main event of the evening in what is going to be fireworks. Brian T-City Ortega, a staple of this division for many years, taking on the newcomer, the new guy on the block, Diego No Regrets Lopes. This fight's got fireworks written all over it. I could see this fight going so many ways, to be honest with you guys. Lopes is showing in this winning streak he's on in the company. The guy comes in, first off, let's just talk about the guy comes into the company on short notice, I think on like 7 days notice tops, against Movsar Evloev, who is a top guy, a pretty top high-rising guy in the division right now. Looks good, dude. Has Evloev in multiple times where he almost submits him and gets him out of there. He does lose a decision, but he gained so many fans in the first fight. Dana loves him off rip. The guy's picked up steam. He's had a couple stoppage wins. The guy's on a win streak now in the division. And now he gets the call to take on T-City, who's been a guy who's been in the top 5 for, I mean, he's only fought, let's say, 3 times.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
he has kept his rank in the top 5 for a while now. This is a big fight, dude. A big fight. I see Lopes coming out like aggressive on, putting Ortega on the back foot, and he could hurt Ortega early, and he's got the submission game. But also, dude, Ortega has that submission game too. Ortega arguably might be the best submission artist in the sport.
Definitely at 140.
But I just think at this point of his career, I know he is. I think he's a slight favorite in this fight. I think at this point in Diego Lopes's career, it might be a little bit more than he might be biting off a little bit more than he can chew. And I'm gonna go with T-City Ortega, maybe to weather the storm early. Use that championship experience, although the championship experience have been some beatdowns. I think he does have a lot more experience than Lopes. I see T-City landing a big shot, either finding the submission or just finding a way to get Lopes out of there. Maybe in round probably 3 or 4. I think Lopes is going to come out early and maybe look really good in the beginning, but I think he's going to fatigue if he's not able to put this fight away. And I'm going to take the underdog, Brian Ortega, to get what could be a number 1 contender win. But we'll see. I know he was something came out. He was talking to the UFC about moving up to 55 because he thinks he wouldn't be fighting for the title for quite some time. So that'll all be interesting. I'm very excited. This is other than the main event, this is in the MVP Garry, but this fight, I'm more excited for this fight than even MVP Garry.
Yeah,
so
this
it's got fireworks written all over it. What do you think, Hebs?
Yeah, well, also, I didn't know this was going to be 5 rounds. So this being a 5-rounder kind of flipped my opinion a little bit. Obviously, that favors Ortega. I don't know how deep. I know Lopes, I think, has went to decision in 3 rounds, but obviously the guy has not been in a 5-round fight, and he hasn't been in there with anyone remotely close to Brian T-City Ortega. As you said, guy's been a staple of the division forever. Although he never fights, so I guess when you don't lose for a while, you keep your rating. But he didn't really add many wins in that time frame. Again, dude, since the Holloway fight, the guy's only fought a handful of times. He went back, looked great against Zombie, showed a completely different version of himself in the stand-up game. He gets another title shot versus Volk. Everyone remembers that, the beatdown of the century. That fucking triangle was tight. Volk saw the lights dimming. Dude, Volk's such a showman, even if it wasn't that bad, Volk's just I thought about my family in there. It's all right, brother.
Hey, can we comment on how Mr. Volkanovski called the UFC to step in here on short notice?
And it's also a huge, huge step up for Diego Lopes. He's only had 5 fights in the UFC, dude. And obviously he's been on an absolute tear. He's putting everyone out in the first round. I think UFC 300 really elevated his stock, a fight that everyone was watching. You come out, you put the guy out in the first round. And, he's a likable guy. He's got an interesting look. After starring in We're the Millers a couple years ago with Jason Sudeikis, he turns into a big-time fighter. I don't know about this one. Ortega, again, he never fights. He comes back, and he doesn't look great in the build-up to the Yair fight. He says, I'm the eagle has to break his beak. Everyone's like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? And then you go out, and Bruce Buffers announces his name. He rolls his ankle. I was like, dude. And then he gets clipped. Dude,
he gets clipped in like every fight he's in. That's the thing, is like Lopes comes out and clips him. It's like, you know what I mean? The guy's very hittable.
Yeah, but he's also like, his recovery is great. He got knocked down twice. I think if Yair played it a little, Yair probably could have got the finish there. But so the fight could not have been going worse. And then he ends up getting a fucking submission win. So all credit to him for doing that, and all credit to him for taking this fight, dude. He's the ranked 3. He's been in the top 5 in lightweight, or featherweight rather, forever. He said he wants to move up to lightweight. And then you just end up taking a guy who just got a number next to his name, like the scariest, young fucking prospect in that division. A lot of respect for Ortega for taking the fight. The 5-round fight definitely favors him. I've been so torn on this. I kind of just want to ride with Diego Lopes. I could see it going exactly like Yair. I could see Diego coming out, clipping him, hurting him badly. And then Ortega can take it all, dude. Remember how he got his face, 2 of the biggest ass whoopings ever in championship history. Ortega was on the wrong side of him, getting his face rearranged by Max Holloway and by Alexander Volkanovski. But he just kept coming back, and even the Max, it was a doctor stoppage. It wasn't like he got finished. So, I don't even remember who I just picked. Did I pick Diego? I kind of want to flip it, but I'll go Diego Lopes.
Dude, I'm the same way about this fight.
Impossible to pick.
I kind of want Diego Lopes to win for, like, you know what I mean, and I can see him kind of like coming out and putting it on Ortega like off the jump, but it's like, dude, this fight. That's what I love about this fight specifically. It could go either way, bro. It's got toss up written all over it. Yeah, dude, I'm pumped. I'm pumped about it.
Well, speaking of a toss up, the ultimate toss up. Back in November, we saw Jiří Procházka versus Alexander Pereira, the former champ. That was for the vacant belt, right? Because that was right after Jamal Hill got hurt. And what a fight it was for the 2 rounds it lasted. I think we spoke a lot back then about what was next for Alex. It seemed like it could be Ankalaev. Nobody really wants that, although he might be the best light heavyweight in the division. But on short notice, when the company needs you, when Conor McGregor stubs his toe walking into a table, who are you going to call? The 2 fucking most badass men in the company, Alex Poatan Pereira Shama versus Jiří, the samurai Procházka, the Book of 5 Rings, Miyamoto Musashi, a subscriber, shout out to Miyamoto Musashi, the swordsman. Again, if these guys were fighting in ancient Rome in the Colosseum, that's where they should be fighting. But we get to do it live on pay-per-view in Las Vegas, and I could not be more excited for it, dude. We're going to talk about a toss-up. This segment could go 45 minutes. I have no idea who's going to win. It's Tuesday right now. I'm probably going to change my mind a million times before this fight happens. Before I say any more, give me some initial thought. I cannot be more happy that we get to see this fight again, although I'm going to be devastated once again when one of these men unfortunately lose on Saturday night. But I could not be more excited to watch these guys, man. This is everything. This is why the UFC is the best. It's why MMA is the best sport in the world. Where else do you just get the jazz? Like when the Broncos play the Chiefs, no one gives a fuck. But
watch it. Actually, we have a victory over the Super Bowl champs this year. Kind of smoked them in Denver. Just want to throw that out there. Should have beat them in Kansas City as well, but we'll leave it at that.
We'll get into that later.
But listen, this fight is why we're UFC fans. Absolute banger.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know. Like, come on. If you're a UFC fan, if you're a fight fan, shit, I don't care if you don't watch the sport. Saturday night, turn on the TV and watch the main event because somebody is going to sleep. I promise you that. All right. I love this fight. I love the UFC making this with Conor pulling out. Obviously, you needed something like explosive. You needed something that was going to get the fans on their feet. This fight does that. These guys fought 8 months ago, whatever it was, in what was a great fight. These are two of the best strikers in the division, two of the best strikers arguably in the UFC, and their styles are just so different. It's awesome to see it come together. And like you said, we don't want to see one of these guys fall. They're two of our favorite guys. Like, they're two guys that we love to watch fight. But I'm going to say something right now, and it is time to address it. Somebody needs to put an end. I respect Mr. Pereira. I respect the run. I respect him stepping up on short notice. But who's going to put this one-dimensional bum in his place? All right? It's time. And again, we all know a wrestler puts him in his place real quick. All right? Ankalaev smokes Alex Pereira. But it's striker versus striker on Saturday night. And I'm telling you right now, the better fighter, who is Jiří Procházka, the underdog in this one, the guy who, yes, got knocked out 8 months ago, is going to put Alex Pereira's lights out. Mark my words. He's going to come out in this fight. He's going to make
knocked out 8 months ago.
He's going to make the adjustment.
Oh, Jiří. I thought you meant Alex. Sorry.
No, he's going to He's going to make the adjustment. He's going to come out southpaw early, take that lead kick away from Pereira, the kick that did a lot of damage to him in the first fight. And if you actually look at the video of, did you see the video of Procházka sparring the other day with his?
Yeah,
dude, the guy
did an unreal Pereira
but
impression.
If you notice, Pereira was predominantly southpaw in that. And if you go back and watch the first fight, bro, like, yeah, Alex came out, landed the kicks early, but honestly, dude, Jiří was, in my opinion, having his way with Alex Pereira in the first fight. Had Alex Pereira guessing on exchanges. I mean, he took him down. He was fighting a beautiful fight, but he goes in. He kind of has Alex hurt, and in my opinion, it has him up against the fence, starting to kind of tee off on him, throw heavy shots, and he falls into the left hook of death. The left hook that's caught so many people,
yeah.
and like we say, dude, like, we can come on here, we can give you the breakdown, but these guys got that one-touch power that if they land, bro, it don't matter what we say. You're going night-night. And Pereira's showing to have that power. Like I said, I'm going with Jiří Procházka, the underdog, to get the belt back. There will be a trilogy of this fight within the next 2 to 3 years. And actually, I don't know how much. I mean, Pereira's up there already, but there will be a trilogy in this one when Jiří evens it up on Saturday night. Mark my words. Book it. Hebs, what do you think?
Well, if Jiří wins, I mean, the trilogy would be at the end of the year. Ankalaev can just keep getting pushed back. Ankalaev versus Anthony Smith. That's who he gets.
I think he might have already beat Anthony Smith. Probably.
I feel like they definitely have fought before. Probably. I could be wrong. Anthony Smith has fought literally everyone.
Ankalaev, the best 205er. Let's just call spade a spade.
Yeah, but okay. Who gives a fuck about Ankalaev? Ankalaev says, "Oh, I don't want to fight till Abu Dhabi." Hey, guess what, pal? You're not even going to be able to fight then. If you want to fight,
pal? You'll do what you're told.
I like Ankalaev, and he gets a lot of unnecessary hate, but like, I don't understand when people do that. You are kind of the number one contender, and then you're like, yeah, actually, I call the shots. And like, because Pereira's like, I want to turn around after 300. I want to fight 301 in Brazil. And Ankalaev's like, actually, no, pal. We're going to do it in Abu Dhabi in fucking like 8 months. Like, what are you talking about? That's not how this works at all. Has that ever worked for anyone? Like, you don't get to call the shots. And guess what? Now you had even more onto the sideline because we got the two baddest. How many times can I say that in one episode, that the two baddest men in the company we get to see again? The first fight, this is one of those fights I feel like could go a different way every time. So like, whatever we predict, it doesn't really matter. Jiří won the first round. He looked good. His leg was getting beat up, but the whole damage thing, it doesn't matter with this guy. You've all heard about his finishing rate. The only fight that went to decision was the Glover fight, which was one of my favorite fights of all time. But yeah, or that didn't even go to decision. Sorry. He finished him with 20 seconds left. But other than that, the guy his fights finish very, very, very early, dude. So I don't think we will be in for a long night in the office. So I don't think that the damage that this guy takes. Did anyone watch the Rakic fight? He got his fucking ass kicked, dude. It was an ass whooping.
Rakic is the best 205er for the first 4 minutes in the world.
Dude, Rakic would beat Ankalaev, and they should make that fight next. I don't think the damage, like the leg kicks that Pereira is going to get on Yuri, it almost is like it doesn't matter, right? Because like you're accumulating damage for what? Like for the scorecards, this is not going 5 rounds. So, and the guy perceives damage in a much different way. And the concept of pain doesn't seem to be something that really works for this guy, right? So just eating up his leg, even so much so that like it's clearly hurting him. Even he knocked him down in the first fight with a leg kick. And then there are multiple other where he does that, like he kind of like moves down, like you know what I'm talking about, where Yuri kind of like crouches over and like grunts. We're going to see a lot of that, but it's not going to matter because that's something, although it might hurt him, the pain seems to turn this guy into a different breed of monster. For 7 minutes, Rakic could not have looked better. I literally was sitting there like, Rakic might be the best 205er. Rakic versus Pereira, sign me up. I thought he looked great against Blachowicz. He's looked great in the past. I'm like, this guy, it's all coming together for him. And then all of a sudden, this Jiří Procházka just willed himself to win. Obviously it's the most violent sport. It's a literal fist fight, but you don't see that too often. A guy just deciding, I'm going to fucking win this fight and just charge at you. And I'm getting jacked up just talking about it because he has the wild man style. That throwdown, when he took him down, the finishing sequence, and he got clipped in the finishing sequence one last time because Rakic is a hero and died like a hero. Fucking Yuri just he tackled him like a football player. There was a couple of big guys just throwing down, but then he ended up finishing him shortly after. Jiří Procházka is a dog in every sense of the word, as is his opponent. I'll keep doing this because I love the guy, Alex Pereira. There we go. I really want to see a trilogy, and I kind of just feel like this rivalry is not over, and we are going to see a third fight between these guys. And I think this is going to be a special fight on Saturday night, and we are going to end up seeing a third fight because Jiří Procházka will knock him out on Saturday night. I don't know why. That's just what's going to happen because we deserve to see a third fight because we had a tough June. A lot of fights falling
brutal
through.
June.
Brutal. We looked at this month. We did an episode at the beginning of the month. We were just salivating. What a beautiful month we had in store. And then one by one, they just kept falling off. And we ended up with Anthony Smith versus Dolidze. Oh, my goodness. Thanks for bringing that up. You're fucking pissing me off. But yeah, I think we are just going to see a great fight, and then we're going to see a Yuri win, which is going to result in a third fight. Alex Pereira, I can't say enough about these guys. Conor McGregor out with a toe injury. Alex Pereira in with a toe injury. The guy has no concept of pain as well. They're the two. I just fucking love these guys, and I could talk about them all night, clearly. But I do think Yuri is going to get it done. He's got that awkward style, which Pereira's technical ability almost like works against him in a fight like this. Yuri's just going to make it weird. He's going to make it ugly. And that doesn't really favor like a technical kickboxer. Obviously Pereira is not the most technical guy, but you know what I mean? Those weird, the angles that Procházka creates, the weird ways he throws these punches, like you don't see that from a guy that high level ever. So we saw him hurt Pereira multiple times. Again, is the chin a problem at 205? Probably not, but Yuri's got power. The 2 times he put people away, we were just watching the Oezdemir knockout. Holy smokes, that guy did not get up for a minute. And that wasn't some weird, that was just a clean 1-2 right down the pipe. And Oezdemir, who had never been knocked out before, he was, in Toy Story.
He fights once every year and a half now.
Sorry. That's a really good point. But yeah, so the guy's just got too much power. I think he could clip Pereira. Not going to be a one-punch knockout. Maybe probably a TKO. But I think Jiří Procházka is going to get it done. And then I think before the end of the year, we will see a trilogy, probably to close out the year in December. And I think I could not be more excited for that because, again, I could watch these guys fight every weekend if we could. One last thing, it'll be very interesting to see how recovered Jiří is. We know Pereira had a broken toe. Again, I don't think that's really going to be a factor. Dude, Jiří got beat up, and that was 2 months ago. That was 2.5 months ago. Alex didn't get touched in that fight. So is Jiří going to be 100%? Who knows? They definitely threw a ton of money at these guys, so no one's going to turn down the fight. But it's very interesting to see if he's at 100%. But you got a wild boy on your hands in Jiří Procházka by way of the samurai. Imagine these guys should be fighting with, like, I don't know what Pereira's weapon of choice would be, but, like, you know, Jiří should have a sword out there. But
a sledgehammer with the, like, those things that are in his
yard. And then just meeting in the middle. I can't wait for the stare down. The best, all the JRE fucking, the best stare down, Silva versus Crow Cop. The best stare down of all time was Jiří Procházka versus Alex Pereira. And we're going to see it again because actually just thinking of the way Pereira looks, I might change it. I can't believe I picked against him while wearing this shirt. But Jiří Procházka, we're on the same page. He'll knock him out. It'll be a great night of fights leading up to a massive, massive, massive main event. Although we wanted McGregor, maybe we'll see him before the end of the year. Who frickin' knows at this point? But honestly, not to say I don't care because nothing beats a McGregor fight week. But could it get much better than this, dude? If you had to, when this fight was falling through and you were like throwing out all these possible options, people were saying, you know, could Holloway step up, all this stuff. It's like, does it get much better than these two? I don't think so. And I really hope we get to see them fight for a third time before the year ends.
UFC 303. You heard it here first. The two biggest podcasters in the MMA game at this point, just taking over the game.
Come on now.
Jiří Procházka, the underdog, gets it done on Saturday night via stoppage. KO, TKO, mark my words. The Pereira run, although it's been a great one, comes to an end. Actually, check that. It hasn't been a great one. He lost to Jan Blachowicz in his 205 debut.
All right.
Let's just call a spade a spade. But all right. All right, guys. Like, follow, subscribe. We always enjoy getting together, putting on talking these fights with you guys. We were just talking about it. If you're still listening when this comes out, if you're a true fan and you're still listening, comment below the three big fights, MVP Garry.
No, we'll do all five. All
right, all five. Comment all five main card fights. If you get them right, let's just say we'll take care of you, whether it be some game-worn gloves, potentially some game tickets. We'll see what we have in mind. We'll see how many comments, if people are still – we'll see how many true fans we have.
Yeah, we'll see who's still listening. Yeah. Who frickin' turns off. We can see how long you guys watch for, dude. That's public info. So
And yeah, folks, that's it for 303. We'll see you guys who knows? Maybe we'll have something in store later this week.
Yeah.
We'll see. But we appreciate you guys as always. Like, follow, subscribe. Ballin' and brawling. Coming at you live.
Yeah, hit that sub button, baby. Enjoy Saturday night. We got a huge night ahead. First in-person episode. Thought it went pretty well, and hopefully many more in the future. Hit that subscribe button. Again, comment. If you sweep the main card, we got something special for you. So comment who you got in all five fights in the main card. Hopefully nobody, hopefully no more dropouts. But comment that. Hit that subscribe button, and maybe we got something in store for you. Enjoy the fights. Thanks for tuning in.
Boom.